You're listening to the American Home Contractors Podcast.
We're here today with Jeff Bowers with Bowers Insurance, and we're going to talk about his Tesla Solar Roof project that we wrapped up in. When did we wrap this up for you, Jeff?
I'm thinking it would have been, I think, all live and active late summer, early fall.
Late summer, early
last
fall?
year.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
of 23.
Cool. So not even a year into it yet?
No.
How are things going so far with the roof?
It's going pretty well. I think the thing I find interesting, it's a little bit gamified for me because I constantly look at the app. I get the biggest kick out of, even when I'm out of town, I can tell what the weather is because I go to the Tesla app first and see how much I'm generating before I go to the weather bug. But it's going well. I mean, we're tracking what we're generating. It's interesting to see the variation in the weather patterns and also the variation of the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we kind of turned on late summer, early fall. So we kind of are on the tail end of the good solar generating period. So I'm kind of excited coming out of this winter into the spring because I've seen the worst months. And I think, well, the worst months are actually pretty good solar generating, especially on the weekends. We've had some times on the weekends with the office building where we've been generating 80 to 90% energy usage. Weekday, depending on the temperature outside and how much heat and air, we're pushing anywhere from 40 to like 60%, so it's going pretty well.
Very cool. Yeah. And the best months are ahead. So let's back up and what led you to Tesla Solar Roof and ultimately finding American Home Contractor?
We had a couple things hitting at once in our building. We'd been in this building about 25 years. We had done a major renovation about 15 years ago. And at that time, we did a significant upgrade in our HVAC system. We went to a 4-zone traditional heat pump system. Those units were starting to go bad, had reached the end of their cycle. And of course, since we put them all in at once we knew what was going to happen. They were all going to go. One went, and it was about the tune of about $13,000 to $14,000. So we knew what we were faced. And the roof at that time was 15, 16 years old, had some decent life in it, but we knew, again, the roof was going to need to be replaced. So we looked at it and said, my brother and I wanted to do what we could to make this building as sustainable, not only true from an environmental standpoint, but more so from a financial standpoint. The way I looked at the solar is, what can we do to fix our energy costs now? Like, what can we do? Because we all know energy costs are going to go up, right? Milk goes up, your electric bill goes up, your cable bill goes up, everything goes up, right? So, but what can we do to fix that cost at 2022 or 2023 pricing? And the idea was, let's go ahead and redo the HVAC system. We put in a geothermal system. We dug 5 wells in our back parking lot, and that was quite an undertaking. My brother and I have geothermal in our home, so we were familiar with it. We wanted to get our energy usage down. We'd already done LED lights in and out. So we knew there's really not much more we could do other than the HVAC system. So at the same time, we looked at it and we said, well, let's invest the capital in new HVAC and also let's look at the roof situation. Somewhere I picked up this idea of a Tesla solar roof and started Googling it and went to YouTube, and I found a local contractor show, and you were on the local contractor show. I believe it was your house talking about the Tesla solar roof. And then I believe that video took me to giving Tyler a call, and he was very responsive and gave us price. As I just mentioned to you before we started videoing, I had some experience with trying to get one in a southern state in Florida and didn't have much luck. Tyler was very quick. I mean, man, I think I had a price. I don't even think it's more than 1 or 2 business days, which to me is pretty phenomenal for this cost. And it was pretty much right on. So he was great to work with. Then signed a contract, worked through the COVID supply chain challenges that we all faced, right? And and away you guys went,
That's awesome. So you started with geothermal first.
Correct. We got the geothermal done in May. And then you guys came in like the fall, I think, you put the panels on in the fall, and then we had to work through getting the power walls and the inverters and the power company, which was all out of our hands, really waiting for them. That went through last winter, and I think we got everything finally on and active then, in the summer.
Cool. So. We met with Patrick from Total Comfort.
Sure. Great people. If you need a geothermal system, they're your folks.
Yep. When we spoke to him about geothermal and solar, and he said a lot of people actually go geothermal first, and they focus on reducing their consumption and then focusing on producing clean energy. So that's kind of what you did, right?
Well, yeah, and it made sense. It's kind of like you don't want to get the cart in front of the horse, right? How do you know what size solar system you need unless you get your energy consumption down? And my idea was, it's still a panacea. I don't know if we'll ever get there. The idea is to be 100%. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if that's obtainable year round, but I think we have probably a good shot because we have some weekend days, as I said earlier, that we are at 100% because there's no one in the building that's not generating. We're pushing excess out to the grid. Mm-hmm. So we're excited about looking for other ways too, but we know those were the big items, the LED lighting and the geothermal.
Well, I know you have an electric vehicle charger on the outside of the building, right?
Yep. Yeah, so, I have a Rivian R1T.
Now, is that open to customers as well?
We have a situation where we will open if a customer needs it. The original, they have two chargers, is one to charge mine since it's a company vehicle, and also to charge potentially a second company vehicle someday. We'll probably get another EV. We do allow some customers to use it with permission.
I was going to say, you could probably reduce your consumption if you didn't let them charge here.
We don't really. We have had a few situations where we've come in the morning and cars plugged in there that we didn't know about.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Overnight, huh?
Yeah. Just had one last week. Well, part of that, apparently, we appeared on some Google network for charging. And I don't know if that was a feed from the utility company or what, but we made some adjustments to it and some signage that...
Oh, yeah. In fact, when I put the address in and navigating here, I think it did come up. Is it a charge point?
It's not supposed to be.
Oh, my. Yeah, you got to get that removed. Yeah, it showed up as a destination charger or whatnot. Yeah. So, well, that's funny. So it does look beautiful. It's on a commercial building, which is unique. This is single phase as opposed to three phase. Correct? Electricity?
Correct. Yep.
So what made you choose it for a commercial building, and what is it like, having people here look at it and see firsthand what a Tesla solar roof is?
Yeah, the decision, Dave, on the first decision was really the aesthetics. I think it is a roof that really, if we take the solar out of it, I think just the pure aesthetics of the Tesla solar roof is a sharp looking roof. It's a complement to the building. It literally looks like modern day slate, right? And the fact that it also is generating power is a nice add-on. So number one, it was aesthetics is really why we wanted to do it. I think it just in a cleaner line to the building and longevity. We were seriously thinking that, Tesla, I don't know how many year guarantee they put on it, but remember it was extensive, but we're looking for well beyond that if we can get this thing to last much beyond our traditional asphalt shingled roof, well, then it's a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of people mentioned it when they come up, and your clients.
We've had several. We've had some phone calls. We've had people driving by when you had the signage out front asking about it. They saw, and apparently they were kicking the tires as well and wanted to know about it. And I gave them some information. I gave your name to a lot of folks, a good 4 or 5 people that I can think of. We've had some clients walk in, and we've had a lot of them asking what it is. They don't know what kind of roof it is. In fact, we have a Jersey Mike's next door. We've had some people from the Jersey Mike's walk over here at lunchtime and ask us, what kind of roof is that? I've never seen that. And it's been kind of fun to show them, And then we have another fast food, Popeyes, on the other side where all the power walls and Tesla inverters are. So it's like an advertisement right there for Tesla every day with everyone going through the drive-thru.
Now you have 4 power walls. What led to the decision to get 4 power walls?
Well, one of our concerns being in the insurance business is we have to really do what we can do to be available for our clients in the event of a weather-related outage or some other type of power outage, because even if our staff works from home, this is the core of the computer system. So we've got to have power here so they can work from home. So part of that was we need to have our contingency planning, as a business. Well, we wanted to be here for our customers. We looked at one wall, we looked at two, and they would have been fine. But the idea with 4 is, can we get a day or two of power out of it? Because most of our common power outages that we have here have been anywhere from a couple hours to one time we had one that was almost 2 days. And it has happened more frequently over the last 10 years than what it did 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We face it usually about 3 or 4 times a year. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, but sometimes it's 5 hours.
So you can't have any downtime here.
No, and I did the numbers. When we were looking at the cost benefit analysis, we look at what we pay per hour with our staff, and everything's internet based today. It isn't like the old days where we could go file the paper files when the phones and the power stopped. We're dead in the water. We can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from a cost benefit analysis, all right, if we can eliminate 3/4 of those power outages a year and still stay functional, more power to it. And it has kicked in twice. Once when we discovered some configuration issues with the setup, and your staff was great to deal with it. I mean, I knew we were going to have hurdles, and that was a hurdle that came up. And Evan and, as I told you earlier, Bobby just were fantastic to work with. Just went over the top, worked after hours for us to get us up and running. Because there's a little bit of different configuration what they were used to. Mm-hmm. So they responded to that. We just had our second power outage, and it was interesting. I was sitting here. I didn't even know it happened. In fact, my app sent a warning to my Garmin watch as I'm sitting in this chair. I thought something was wrong with our equipment, that our power wall was dangerously low, it said, because we set our power wall at 30%. When I know it's more weather related, we kind of the system turns it up automatically. But here we had been down power. I mean, the lights didn't even blink. And I made a call to Evan and Nick, and we kind of chuckled about it. It only lasted like a few minutes, right? That I could even tell. But it apparently had been out an hour or two, and we never even knew it.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Seamless,
completely seamless. We did not even have a flash in the lights. Nobody in the staff knew it. And I thought, well, that's an example. We'd have been down. And part of a technology today is, when the power goes down unexpected, we got to reboot a file server. Mm-hmm. We got to reboot everybody's computer. Well, that file server takes almost half hour to an hour. It's like, starting up a Formula One car compared to your car out of the garage. It takes a while for those F1 boys to fire that thing up. Same thing on the file server. It takes a while. So even though you're only down for 10 minutes, you're down an hour just getting your technology back up and running.
And time is money.
Exactly. So we right away, it's paid dividends on one event, that I didn't even know was happening at the time if it wasn't for the power wall warning.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Yeah. It's unfortunate that a lot of businesses can't go with, Tesla Solar Roof and the power walls because of 3-phase electricity. But this is unique in the sense that you have single phase coming to it. And, why is that though? There's a Popeyes next door, there's a Jersey Mike's next door. And how did you get the single phase here?
This was years ago. There was a company here called the Associates Financial. They were a consumer finance company. And some owners, it was a cluster of actually insurance professionals in Pittsburgh. That the men, there's 5 or 6 men, they'd all went together and their families and built 19 of these buildings across the United States. Somebody knew somebody at Associates Financial, right, to build the buildings and sign the leases. We got this building because there was only one man standing of the original ownership group. And joking aside, he was ready to stop dealing with the other 5 widows.
Oh, wow.
So he wanted to divest himself of his business. And he had told me they built them basically like a single family home, because that's what the associates wanted in the late 60s and early 70s when they built these buildings. So, and the Popeyes wasn't built then, and this building next door wasn't built. So we were the only one. So I think at that time, the utility thought, well, they only need single phase.
Oh, wow.
Right? They don't need two phase or three phase, you know?
Well, this worked out great. You
Yeah.
know, hopefully Tesla has a solution in the future for three-phase electricity, but right now it's just single phase.
Do they have for their panels? Or is it just the solar?
No, there's no commercial inverter right now that I'm aware
Interesting.
of. Yeah, so it'll have to be down the road, but we're told that it, you know, could be a solution in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
So, which
Is
would
that
be nice.
some of the reason why you see these large warehouses being built that they're not on solars, because they just don't really have the capability of doing it with the panels?
Yeah, I mean there are certain manufacturers that do have a solution for that.
Just
yeah,
not
Tesla's
Tesla.
inverter's not
Yeah.
quite there yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
but soon we'll have hopefully Tesla Solar Roof on more commercial buildings that are steep slope, because of a commercial inverter for three-phase electricity. But you said something about the electricity being unique here, and Bobby said something about having a unique situation to work on here. Can you explain a little bit of that?
You know, I think the uniqueness was that I think because some of the development with this being on a state highway and residential behind us, we have a little bit of hybrid that you have us, like us. So we're at single phase here, but everyone around us is more commercial based. You know, convenience stores being built right across the street from us as we speak, which is a pretty elaborate project. I believe what's probably happened is because of the, how should we say it, hodgepodgeness of the development of this road, the state highway over the last 40 years, we brought in a lot of different infrastructure. But at the same time, Dave, what that has done, that's created more challenges for us on the electric front. It has led to more outages.
Oh, okay.
And which is one of the reasons we had looked a few years ago. We have natural gas out front, and we could have brought natural gas to the building and put a gas generator. And we thought about that, and looking back on it, the cost may have made sense at the time, but when we started looking into this Tesla project, that was no longer really as beneficial as getting the solar with the solar credits. You know, we just applied for not only the solar renewable credits for the state of Maryland, but there's also geothermal called GeoRex.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got word last month, we were the first commercial application in the state of Maryland approved by the Public Service Commission for GeoRex.
And that's through Wade Sewell?
Correct.
Excellent.
Yep.
Wade's a great guy.
You know, he's the Kleenex of that industry, right? He's
Yep.
the guy. You know? Yeah, Wade just got our project approved. He handles our SolarRex, and he handles now the GeoRex. So it's an exciting time for him. He was excited. It took a lot of back and forth with the Public Service Commission to get that approved, but they did. You know, the solar was more of a slam dunk, but the geo was took a little bit more work. But we're kind of excited about that. I mean, we're not huge environmental people, so I don't want to paint the picture that I'm out here, you know, riding my bike every day to work, even though I'm driving an electric vehicle. But I do. I mountain bike. I'm in the woods all the time. I have some concerns about the environment, right? But I also think it has to be done from an economic-based perspective too. If it just hit perfect with us, the HVAC system needing to replace, the roof was coming online. You know, low interest rates helped us at that time for some bank financing that we utilized. It was just everything lined up, and it's been a good fit for us. So I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. Well, it looks beautiful. I mean, you can see it right off the highway. I mean,
Yeah. Thank you. Well, you guys did it.
Yeah. Well, it looks-
And you know, I just I'd mentioned to you earlier about Bobby and Evan were fantastic. The other side of that coin, the crew that came here to remove the old roof, one, they were punctual, prompt, very clean, because this was an operating, ongoing business. We stayed open that day, and they were on the roof banging and scraping, and
oh man,
you know, we did not have any issue with them. Not only from our staff, but our customers coming and going. They had this roof off in a morning, and by the end of the day when I was going home, Tesla solar shingles were already going on. I was just blown away. And we have a lot of contractors as clients. And it's a challenging industry, very challenging right now, and I feel for those folks. But they were very clean and took care of it and really did a nice job for us.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, again, your installation folks are good, really good. You know, I can see why you're busy. Yeah, you know, reputation helps, right? I wouldn't hesitate utilizing you guys again.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
And I know you cover a big geographic area, you know, which has got to be challenging at times, but they do a good job for us.
Yeah,
they do a good job for you and your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, through the app, you said that you were monitoring things, and you have 2 panels, 2 gateways, right?
Yes.
So then, in a sense, you have 2 systems that you have to kind of toggle back and forth, right?
Yep.
I understand.
I'm just saying, okay, because I'm learning as well.
I understand from Bobby, a brief conversation with him was there was an attempt to try to get things so that it could be monitored as one system instead of 2 individual.
Yeah,
right?
And we had some issues with the circuit breakers, the circuit board, the power feed, a little bit of everything. So we went to, you guys really worked through that hurdle fantastic, and we came to a good mutual understanding. I think that hopefully was fair to everyone. We put in, I guess they call it a smart panel, was the phrase. And that thing is really cool. I mean, you know, shifts power all around the building with the circuits depending on what needs it. And that, as I said, we just had the power outage a couple of weeks ago and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I think that really fed into it.
And now, do you monitor the power walls? And you said 30% is your setting, so they won't go below 30%.
Yeah.
Do you monitor that and say they're not filled 100%? Do you ever move that up and down?
I have, just to play around with it some. A little bit of gamification.
Yep.
If we have a really sunny day and it's on the weekend, at the end of the last year, at the end of the summer, I was pushing it up at home on the app to build up. And so I knew, okay, when Monday comes, we're going to have more to discharge, right? Or let's push a little more out to the grid because it's going to be beautiful Saturday and Sunday. Let's fill up the battery on Saturday. Let's take the excess, push it out to the grid on Sunday. And then Monday we have a fully charged, and then I'll adjust it back down. It's a balancing act, right? I don't quite know what you're to do on that. The system is really cool though. You know, we just had a little bit of that snow Friday night. And I've noticed a couple times in the fall it did this when a storm was coming. The Tesla system is so smart that it'll take that 30% and adjust it automatically at 100%. It did Friday night based on the weather.
Yep. Storm watch mode.
Yeah, because I was sitting at home Saturday, snow was wrapping up, it's kind of clearing off, but I knew we couldn't be generating much. And I looked at the app and we were 80-90% self-powered. And I realized, well, because the power wall was fully charged.
Yep.
So Friday night, that thing pulled off the grid.
Yeah.
To get ready for, I guess, an outage that we would have had maybe for Saturday and Sunday, which could have saved us a lot of headaches come Monday morning if we were out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once it goes into storm watch, it automatically puts the power walls up to 100%, pulls from the grid so that you're, with full batteries for the next day in case the power does go out. But sometimes if the National Weather Service doesn't issue a warning, then the power walls won't go into storm watch mode.
Okay.
So that's the only time when you have to really monitor it.
Think ahead a little bit.
Think ahead, yeah. If it's windy in this particular area, but it's not windy enough at a large enough area where the National Weather Service is saying, hey, wind advisory, wind warning, right?
Yeah, that's good to know.
Then you may want to pull it up from 30% to 50% or what have you. Yeah.
The one thing that helps us on the weekends, it's why our weekend power loss is so critical for our business is, of course, everything, as I said earlier, is internet based. We still do have some what I'd call old school batch processing to our file server with our main insurance carrier. And that occurs every night, but the bulk of some of their activities occur over a weekend. So we lost power and that file server went down, not only would we be killing time Monday morning to get the file server turned up, we'd have to contact that insurer and say, hey, we missed our download. Can you push it through? And sometimes they're able to do it at a night, but oftentimes they'd say, well, we're going to send it now because there were some critical updates to your client base. Well, that's 5-6 hours. And we can't work during that time. And that has happened in the past. So the weekend power maintenance is almost in many ways more important than during the weekday. So it kind of coincides nicely that that's when we're using our least power so we can push up the batteries as high as we want.
No, that's great. And like I said, you'll be going into the better producing months, so you should only be
I'm interested to see about
it.
I guess at some point I'll stop being so curious, but
it'll just work.
I'm a curious guy. My wife laughs at me about that, but I just find a lot of that curiosity fascinating.
Oh, yeah. And there's updates in the apps constantly, so who knows? Maybe there'll be new features and just exciting things to look for in the app.
Kind of like my Rivian truck.
Yeah.
Every weekend they do a software update or something.
There you go. It's constantly changing, constantly optimizing.
It's pretty wild, that's for sure.
Well, it's a beautiful roof, Jeff. We're so happy to have you as a customer, and we really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us.
Yeah, anytime. And anytime someone, wants to, I'm still on the referral list or the recommendation list for Jim and Patrick Aaron at Total Comfort. And I will still occasionally get a call 20-some years later. Hey, what about your Geo system? Same thing about the Tesla. I'll throw that out there. Someone has, especially a business application, it might be for a small business. As time goes by, I'm going to have more and more experience to share, but I'll feel free to chat with anyone about it.
Great. Well, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. I think you guys do a great job, and you're building a good business, and you're doing it the right way.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks, guys.
You've been listening to the American Home Contractors Podcast. You can find us across the web on YouTube, X, TikTok, and Instagram at AHCDMV. Thanks. We'll see you in the next one.